would reinvigorate the hope that maybe a lot of people lost when these two teams last clashed. But here we are, we're done speculating. The pistol round is ready, so let's get into it.
All right, let's wait and see what the strategy is going to be here for BC Game up on the T side. Currently, the squad has gathered over towards A, though there's a bit of quite heavy aggression on the counter side as well. Yupe is already there waiting with a pistol, but he's about to... Wait, I say get flanked, but Era has his back, though there are a couple kills coming in return now.
Yep, there are indeed. Equalize the numbers, but everyone is here on this side. A rotate, they've got all the time in the world to work with, and a lovely dink there as well. Era does find one instantly traded, though. 2 for 2, we continue. Still got a flash on hand, but Twist, a kid available, buys them so much opportunity in this. If they want to just back away, let them take the space, but I think the decision to rotate going to be called early here. Ooh, look at Twist.
There's a lot of time here still to work with. And Twist is definitely accounting for a rotation point now as well. They decide to double up. But mid is not the answer. No, they go the long way around.
It's a good call.
That keeps the cities guessing.
It's a good call because it means that there's no information mid, which means they either have to completely forsake A, worried that they may still be lurking around the halls, or they have to retake B. But there's a kid available, so not too worried. There's a little bit more opportunity to play together and not isolate these two sites and two 1v1s. Well, sorry, 1v2s.
Well, bomb side is clear. And a bomb will be planted. So the question is, how will this retake go? There is a kit in the hand of Twist. So that at least is in their advantage, with very little resources here for them to try and make it work. Just got to clear your corners, go in together and hope that you can make it work. But oof. All right, a bit of a damage already. Not quite a kill just yet, but that is a lot of information. And now a ring around the rosy with footsteps on the back of the site. Currently, oh, they do deal. They just got time taps. They have to at this point. It is their only win condition, and not in time here for Nexa. And with that, it is the first round up on the board for Alliance.
It's a lovely 4K from Nexa, but it's a very difficult one. They had a really nice crossfire established. Losing that first sort of prong in it is always going to be a problem. And lovely bodyguarding going on there from Poi, but... BC Games, a lot better for pistol round. We sometimes see some quite hit and miss pistols from them, but the fact that they find all 5 kills and a bomb plant at least, it is a good sign. It's going to allow them to force into this and make it a little bit more competitive. Try stump that Alliance economy early on, but okay, there we go. Utility comes on out there, burning alive. He's flashed off the angle. He's got one, and Era's there to back up as well. Smokes come out, and this is just going to make it so much harder. Boy, over the top, firing away, the smoke clears, and he gets to see even more than he could ever have dreamed of. Just simple left, and they're going to hunt him down.
And that was honestly just a straight-up massacre. The U2 as well there, helping a big chunk out to make them a bit weaker, slow them down, and all sort of pinch them into one corner. So, good stuff, good read, and a good adaptation to their scenario. And with that... yeah, it is BC Games time to go back to the drawing board a bit. Upgraded pistols at most, but you gotta save some cash here for a next round. But it smells a lot like 3 rounds in a row here, at least a good potential for it.
Yeah. Lovely early mid control here. There's not much for them to work with. MP9 peeks on out. Avid with 1, Avid with 2. Everyone hops on over. And now simple hiding, waiting has been spotted and taken down as such. And it has been nigh on flawless here for Alliance.
I mean, this is what you like to see when you're up against pistols, even with those being upgraded versions. And again, there was a lot of early utility to keep any scary fast pushes at bay. So at least they deal with that in that scenario. But the real test is yet to come, because now there is full-on AKs across the board for BC Game. Not quite anything like an AWP for Simple just yet, but Curious to see what the game plan is going to be. I see a lot of early aggression coming out, and there is almost no one home. People are over towards Red Room and deep into middle, but no one is here on B defending it. And with that, that should be an easy bomb plant. Wow, I say that. Ooh, From Temps does burn. Gets tickled a bit by the fire. But so does the CT side currently. Trying to get through, Upi does fall. And that is now player advantage for BC Game.
Yeah, there's no utility left now, but Nexa has gone all the way around the world. That's going to pull out so much of the attention. Boy's got one. Nexa has to just back away here, but looks like they have done just enough to force them off here. No way to get back into this. Going to go hunting for as much as they can, make this burn as much as possible, but they are not going to be able to walk away with a round here. And lovely aggressive peek there. I was a little bit worried that they expended all of their util getting onto site there. That they had a single flash and a single Molotov for that post plant. But the smokes were just delayed enough that it kept them at bay for so long that by the time that they had any sort of vision into the bomb site, post plants could have been established. The rotate came over quickly, but there was no way really to get into that site. Nexa's wraparound was absolutely impeccable because it means that they feel so trapped into going to this that they can't really back out. They know they're getting pushed further into a site that's laden with traps.
So what is the response then going to be on the side of Alliance? Last time they managed to slip through the cracks, and now they need to be aware of what they could be doing. Predicting a sneak through the smoke, and without an opportunity granted, but another kill here lining up. It's currently BC Game trying to have some of these individual plays that they hope to rely on, but they're currently not quite working out for the squad just yet.
No, they're not. And I think we got to sing the praises of Avid's flashes there. Both of them have monumental impact on players that they know may have managed to slip the net on the timings there. They both get caught out in the open completely fully blind. So Avid, huge props, no kills to be found, but every single one so far has had his name stamped as an assist very firmly.
Now with 45 seconds left on that clock, gonna regroup. Only problem is there is a lot of CTs waiting on this side, and Twist is already expecting them to come around the corner. It's good for one, but the follow-up is there. Poi has his back, and this is what you like to see. This is a very solid read coming out of Alliance. It cleared that middle part of the map out, expecting that rotation, and boom, it's just waiting for them to knock on the door. And a follow-up as well. Lovely stuff.
The reads have been so good. They have been rotating so perfectly to counter this. BC Games haven't been too keen on... once they've got a site in mind, they haven't been eager to deter ever since that pistol. So, interested to see if we're going to see a little bit more of a push and pull between these sites. Not when they can't get mid control and the flashes are so good. And oh, look at that peek out. Double peek from Donut. Actually, both of them are going to down, and that's a bit of a problem. 2-player advantage, even more weapons picked up, upgraded. Here on the AWP here, having to play so passively, and they've probably got a little bit of an idea. They haven't cleared this far back, but the moment he drops down, it's going to be heard. Twist with one, Era with another, and they can start to whittle away these numbers, but no bullet in the chamber to deal there with prime taps. Avid hops on out for one, sprays away for the second, and now just Simple left, and he's so far removed from the situation as to be untrue.
Oh, he's got to make a bit of noise here. Oh, and the smoke to follow it up. That's a good spray for the smoke. That gets the initial player. Now defuse. Oh, not quite though. He's not. Oh, he doesn't remember where exactly it is planted. That is so rough, but honestly, considering sort of the resources they had, it could have really gone either way.
Yeah, the opening picks went so well for them, and we talked a lot about this previously and in other series, is their inability to convert opening picks. I think was something that we sung a lot. Well, we talked a lot about yesterday. Is that sometimes early fights and they wouldn't be able to spiral the 5v4 into an actual victory, but This time, difficult to start with. They did have a whole lot of utility. They get a good start. They do a little bit of damage. They're calling a timeout here, I think, nicely timed. It's starting to slip away from them a little bit. Both of these teams have ever so fractionally better T sides than CT sides here. So it's one of those that you want to get as many rounds on the board as possible, knowing that you're ever so slightly weaker on that CT side, but you don't really want to leave it to chance.
I am hoping that the utility that BC Game got on their backs now is going to be making a difference. Because last round they got quite close with just pure aggression and individual picks. But now I feel that they need to really get the map control going, because that is honestly where Alliance has been shining and been quite scary. Ooh, through the smoke, and Poi makes it work. Obviously his position is now compromised, but they keep walking through it, giving him the smoke advantage. I mean, maybe they're not quite done with it yet. They will eventually find Poi, but not after there's a player advantage secured. There is a lot of damage upon two of the remaining players for BC Game. This is far from an ideal start.
Yeah, so far from an ideal start as to be untrue here. Looking down the barrel of already losing at the half, and there's still, 5 more rounds to go. Yeah, I don't think too much they can do here. A couple of flashes, couple of bits of utility. Looks like they want to head towards mid, but ooh, they've got a whole waiting party there. They do let the 1v1s be isolated, but Avid is going to dispatch of prime taps. And 2 players on this site just waiting to try and burst on out. Twist needs to be careful. Oh, Dry Peak is going to get caught. And the footsteps heard. There's going to be an immediate swivel around there. Simple. Oh, his opponent's flashbang, but he can't quite dodge the bullet. And it is a lovely continue of this affair from Alliance. 6-1 up already.
Can already imagine a team comms there, because that was a team flash, which could have cost him his life, but it all worked out nicely in the end there. But again, I see this sort of pattern of a lot of individualism going on at BC Game, going for these picks, not really there any sort of presence to have someone back you up. And when it goes awry, you are starting off your mid-round with 1 or 2 players down, and it's been deemed a very, very tough job to come back from that. Ooh, on the flip side now, though, Alliance is very keen to show some aggression. Did not quite go too well, but there has been a trade back with prime taps also being quite low. Twist, who has been quite keen on going deep here towards B main, might want to do the same thing again.
Potentially. Got to be oh so careful, though, not to overextend here. Oh, Simple spotted a shoulder, but he wasn't quite scoped in. Casanito in the meantime as well. Oh, the adjustment. We talked about it. If Simple is anywhere near his own form as yesterday, he's going to need to be to right the wrongs of their previous match. But now an opportunity, an empty site, and I think potentially for Alliance here, you might just want to hold on. It's a 2v3 and you've got money in the bank, but you're just so far away that there's just too much to do, no utility to do it. Hold on to this. It's not worth losing.
With the AWP also in play, that's a FT investment. Still going to be clearing out though, make sure not to get hunted, but
Casanito might
that was
find Era. If he goes hunting, could potentially. Actually, I think maybe the call to back away. Ube's found enough of a space here to work with. A nice defendable position, and is going to, maybe try slowly call his teammate over, but that cross can be quite perilous. Everyone should be.
So now we saw some adaptations here from BC Games. So they were expecting that B main push, which Twist has been doing quite a couple of rounds already. And I mean, he's been sort of granted that space, so I get that he wants to see if it can be exploited again. Early this time, Simple was waiting, being disciplined, and with that, a free kill to pick up. And, you have then information that they are eager to push, that maybe that is a sole player, and from there on out, that bomb site was eventually cleared. So they have found another round here on the board again. but ultimately you want to find a couple more to try and bridge the gap as much as possible.
Yeah, 4 more opportunities to close the gap, or potentially for Alliance to extend the lead here. They've got the money to do so, at least for now. Upe, the sole player on this site, going to have to step up in a big way. Throws the Molotov. It's a second too late. They are just going to completely disrespect it, and he's completely cut off from this wild, frantic spray. He gets one and gets that out alive as well. More importantly, it's called over his teammates. Retake coming on through. Simple. So good for the first, and now spraying away. Smoke goes back out, and everyone can just tuck on in, and that's going to make them so hard to weasel out there, especially with no one already going through mid. Now they're sending Twist, but I can't help but feel too little too late.
I mean, technically it's still a 4-on-4. There is time left. But as the time does continue to tick, it becomes instantly harder. Twist loses his life, Upe is low, and they have no choice but to fall back. And this is more the BC game that reminded me of yesterday. These explosive pushes with the squad as a whole. And you know, really relying on your firepower here. And that is where BC Game tends to shine. So I like this. You know, just to fall and execute, shut them out of the site, go for trades, and boom, you have a recipe for some magic. So, 3rd round now found, a lovely consecutive round as well. And slowly finding their form a bit here in this first half.
I think it's also, we talked a little bit about adaptations to what they're facing. Is yesterday on Train, we saw that on the T side, that their opponents, ESC, were never going to that B site. So when it was their turn, and they were like, oh, well, they were really weak at even heading that way on T side. Let's have a little bit of a nosy that way, a little bit more on our opportunity. And they were finding so much success with it. Here, every time they've hit A, they've essentially taken the site with limited, little to no pushback whatsoever. So they've realized there's a little bit of a weakness. So they're keeping it fresh. They're not heading every single round, but they're doing it sparingly enough that they know that there's not been enough opportunity for them to really start reinforcing that A site. They haven't gone there enough and lost there enough that they've started putting, you know, maybe 2 players more diligently. They're just leaving it 1 player there, and that player, you know, is falling back so quickly at the first sign of danger. So there's small little things coming in that are going to be good to see. Whether Alliance are particularly eager to change that up will remain to be seen, but with an immediate run into Donut, looks like they might have got a little bit suspicious here.
So what will the response be? I see Twist again being in quite an aggro position over towards B. Will pull back a bit. Maybe not overly keen enough to completely go for this. Maybe on the back of a flash they could try something, but instead it's going to be BC Game who is going to be applying a bit of pressure. There's util already raining, which causes already 1 player to come over. So mid is abandoned, but doesn't quite matter. It is BC Game who is looking to commit, and so far is getting punished. It's a 2-for-1 here. And then what will happen? We already see CT side is clearing out middle. There's a lot of information. They know exactly where they are. And BC Game is about to get pincered.
Lovely shot there from Era and Casanito. There's nothing really you can do. Run from behind, as you said. The Pincer closes in on its spray. Upe with the final pick. And there's them winning at the half, regardless of how these last couple of rounds go. There's an opportunity to really extend this lead, which would be nice to see, especially given that Alliance's pistol stats seem to reflect a little bit more positively, which could be a worry if they get any more success on this half and then start the second half particularly strongly.
Oof. And he already loses his life. But there is a trade to come through. Poi will fall, and, well, the pushers, they are back in the building. But I do like that they do this with 2 players in comparison to just leaving Twist to do this slowly. They're going aggressive, they get early control. And even though that bomb is about to exit over on A, they got a large numbers advantage here. You can see sort of the anxiety on the side of BC Game. There's a lot more angles to clear out. You know they're slowly pincering the longer the round goes on. They do manage to plant that bomb though. But with Simple tagged and Prime Tap's taken out, it is only waiting for the seconds to pass by. And with that, it is also an 8th round secured.
Yeah, I think the retakes have been a little bit shaky at times from Alliance during this series, but that's only really been when the smokes have been at play. The smokes have been what have been causing them huge monumental issues. They lack those, they lack any ability, and Alliance just want to run in and take the fights and seem to be unstoppable in that sort of capacity. Now, one final round of the half, 9-3. We talk about, the Zondix law of MR12 or 4-8. Either isn't the most amazing start for BC Games, but a window of opportunity, just a leg up would be nice, but the buy is a little bit here and there. A couple of Galils in the mix you never like to see. A couple of opening picks could upgrade them swiftly, but they're not going to be given these fights.
Currently stalled by the incendiary. Ooh, getting sprayed through the wall. I mean, when you make a lot of noise, you can expect players to be ready for you to fight and try and hang on up close. But they deal with that pretty swiftly, and with that, it's only 3 CTs remaining. Sure, a couple of knee damage left and right, but the kills do reign in favor of the T's. It's only Upe that is left. I mean, it needs a miracle here, but it is not large. And this is quite rough, for BC Game kicking things off on CT side. This is where you want to make your shot. It is their map pick as well. And now, at most, it's sort of an upgraded pistol here for them to work with. And most likely, it's going to be double digits for Alliance up next.
All they can afford if they want to buy into the next. So it's going to be an interesting one. I like that they're getting a little bit aggressive over towards B. If anything, the information that nobody's there will give them a leg up in rotating pretty quickly. Deep Smoke is not going to fall Prime Taps at all. He is going to push through it and take that space, just waiting for the red rim push. Here it is. Ooh, footsteps heard around the corner. Very snazzy, but it's going to have to deal with a little bit more there. Upe pushing on forward, spots one player, takes them on out. There's still another player hiding in cave right now. Casanito being a distraction, hoping that they don't spot next, so they don't realize that he's there. But unfortunately, Upe is not going to let anyone slip through his fingers. A 10th round, double digits secured, and it doesn't even look like they broke a sweat.
Oh, not at all. I mean, this is how you want to be dealing with pistols. Just make it nice, quick, and easy. And go next, which is also what BC Game is feeling, because now they have a round with resources on board. Maybe still not the most that they would like. I still want to see an ARP out on Simple, have him shine, but, economy is not quite in their favor just yet. They need to win a couple of rounds in order to get to that point. But, yeah, the time will continue to tick. And, that is rough. The utility damage coming through. Poi also almost falls. That is not the start you want to be having if you are Alliance.
No, it's not. We talked a lot, and we sung a lot of praise of the Alliance flashes last half. And now I think it's time that we sing a little bit of praise for the BC Games HEs. Now, there's only one left available, but a couple of these players quite low. It would not be beyond the realms of possibility, especially with Poi looking as unhealthy as that. He could be hit in the face by a smoke and he's dead, but here he goes, having a little bit of a look. Low HP, that's when the adrenaline is pumping. Casanito isn't going to be cleared out, so Era falls now to, one in a very smidge of health there. He's not going to be cleared. There it is. A little bit of trigger discipline. Not going to hear any other footsteps to work off of. Limits this now to a 2 versus 3. Prime Tap's not sure where to look. That bomb, however, is dropped in the most unfortunate of locations. Going to be very difficult to retrieve, especially with no real map control to speak of. And pushing forward through the smoke. They're not got a flash or anything for it. And there it is. The spray down for both.
They're just hoping to make the best work with utility, which is honestly the best you can do in that scenario. But as you said, it was dropped in such an unfortunate place.
Did a front flip there. Poi dropped the bomb, but did a sick front flip.
True.
Pros and cons, right? Swings and roundabouts. Coming into this, the buy is not going to be amazing here for Alliance. It's a little bit to work with. A couple of opening picks. They might be able to scoop up some weapons, and looks like a heavy, aggressive assault on mid here. Casanito taking so much space. Flash to go over the top is not going to find him. They're both going to run out into him, but Upe gets one. It's a short-lived victory. Twist hoping to avenge his teammates, but already dipped away, hidden in the smoke. They're not content with that as an answer, though. Trying to peek out, find Nexer. It's such a scrappy fight, but Twist's going to put his fist in his face. Nade, we said, HE nades for BC games are so good. There's another pick already found. The bomb site falls. Simple hiding, waiting, going to be able to catch. Oh, not going to be able to catch Avid out. That is a lovely shot to find 2 versus 2. Bombs down for them. Footsteps heard, but Andu just so hot on the trigger here. Avid has to tuck away. Awkward angle to try fight this from now. And there's a smoke available. Smoke goes over towards him here. He's going to have no way of getting back into this fight. But all he's got to do is whittle down the time. There is a kit on Andu. It's going to get tapped and he's going to be very worried. Spots the first player, but he knows that can't possibly be the player that he saw. There's the defuser. Spray wild. Can't quite find the defuser. Oh, and it's another ninja defuse.
Oh my lord, that was scary. I honestly was a bit worried there for BC game because I thought, why not deploy that smoke earlier? You could have saved your second teammate and fought that together. But in the end, I guess the smoke still did the trick. And I managed to get away with it. But it took quite a toll on them economy-wise, and there's still a lot of making up to do. So, curious to see what the impact is going to be going forward. Now, at least sort of the economy on the flip side has been quite broken. It is Avid with an AK, but the rest is going to be struggling quite a lot more.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know the age-old adage, I'll get there, pros don't fake, you know?
True, very true.
They had a defuse kit, they could just stick it, why not, you know?
I mean, it was honestly maybe the one win condition there that they needed. Sometimes you gotta go for it and make it happen. Now, new round, new chances. But Alliance certainly at quite the disadvantage here. So far, just taking it nice and easy. They don't have a lot of resources for utility. The smokes that they've had, they've already deployed them to maybe cause sort of confusion as to what the game plan is going to be, and that they might maybe have more resources than it is actually true.
Yeah, that one smoke already expended. They didn't get too much map control off the back of it, and I don't think the confusion tactics worked at all against BC game. Andu spots a little bit of commotion, decides actually just to back away there. It's not worth the early fight or the risk of losing that opening duel. Era's taken so much space, and they've been given so much respect here, but they know that they're just against pistols. They know that there's no reason.
Ooh.
Oh, the 3-person boost over the top of the site, but the issue is no one's showing themselves. Andu, head spotted, probably very confused about where he died to. There's the first prime taps. Spots a lot of heads, can warn Simple, but they're not going to clear him out. He gets one, he sprays down for the second, and between the two of them, they crunch down on this fast-paced assault. Avid, the last player left alive, desperately trying to bait somebody out here, but knows just needs to get the bomb down. At least it's money. At least it's trying to put a little bit of a timer over their head. Has a weapon in his hands, but unfortunately, Nexa takes his head clean off his shoulders.
I mean, it almost got too close for comfort. It was that Simple had the spray down, and he was left uncleared for quite a while.
They clear him out.
Get the round. Yeah. Eventually, but in my opinion, it took maybe a little bit too long. Like, there's 3 people looking one direction in that scenario, with the rifle being one of them. Like, ideally, you know, you leave 2 pistol players to go and charge, and then the rifle has to clear out the other corners. Maybe a bit of miscommunication. Maybe just this was meant to be the game plan. They got close. Not quite close enough to make that round work, but it's back with all rifles across the table. Time for another chance.
Another chance, indeed. New dawn, new day, new round. Smoke goes out over towards A, and is going to keep all of these BC game players safe for now. Hunter's taken so much space there, and actually it's meant that Avid's just going to go and meet up with his team. Unfortunately, with 3 players over towards B and no information mid, they're going to have to be careful when they clear out mid here if they choose to rotate, which is going to be precious seconds that it buys. But actually, the stall here on this A site has been magnificent.
Yeah, it scared them actually, because they had the setup to go for it, but once they, were delayed, they were like, this is not worth. Let's fall back and see what we can do. Now it's 2 for 1 here over towards middle. Player towards red room falls as well as short. Now Casanito falls towards A, and it's becoming a bit of a slaughter fest. Alliance is very quick on that trigger, leaving just Prime Tabs by himself all the way across the map. And with very little funds, there's nothing he can do but to try and hang on for dear life here.
Should be able to. None of these players really have enough economy to want to go hunting. There'll be a little bit of a poke and prod as they find and clear themselves an exit path. Actually, looks like Poi's having a bit more of a nosy, but they won't go too far. I got worried for a couple of reasons in that round. Is that they had next to no map control for a lot of that. And they ended up, everywhere they went, they ended up facing so much resistance and having to be so fluid going back and forth. But actually, the fact that they just managed to leave somebody behind spawn, give themselves a little bit of a rotate buffer, worry about flank watch and all of that, gives them the safety and the security and the confidence more so to go for this. There's been a lot of not clearing going on in some of these instances as well that might need tightening up just a little bit. Sometimes it's one of those things that just slips your mind that, Simple might be hiding in a little bit of a cubby, or somebody might be on the left-hand side, even if it seems a little improbable. When time's getting a little bit lower, that can really weigh on your mind. But a situation like that, maybe not as much the case. Money, not doing so hot right now for BC Games. They've really got an option on their hands here. It's force something together, cobble something kind of weak and, dare I say, pathetic together for this round. It'll be MP9s and limited utility, and then allow Alliance to get 12. Or try hold on to as much as they can in this round and then fight for overtime.
Well, looks like a decision has been made. It's going to be the force here.
It's not a good
Some G's and 4s. I mean, no, it is far from ideal, as you already said. But you got to do something here. And I think with how this game honestly has been going, I feel a lot of rounds were close on the side of BC Game, and it could have maybe pulled a couple more in their favor. So they have faith that they can turn this around even with a lesser buy. Maybe the safer scenario, because if not, it's going to be over either way. So I do see the reason as to why they want to fight now.
I can see the reason, but I'm very worried about it. I think that a call had to be made. If they lose this round, it's not going to be too hot. But Prime Tabs, putting any doubt that I had to bed instantly, has Nexa there as a bodyguard so they can both escape safely. Era's going to be doing their due diligence to clear out these closer angles. Nobody's still hanging around. They've vacated site. And actually, with so much mid-control, they can call players back now with no immediate danger and reinforce these sites. Era's got 1. Prime Tabs. Molotov goes up onto the top. No one's there anymore. They're not going to hear a drop down either, though.
She's going to fall back here. Not looking to commit. So what is the approach going to be? Because they do leave a player behind. Maybe expecting a push to come through A, which we've seen happen on B, for example, in late round, that they clear out a site and with that rotate. But you do have a player disadvantage here if you are Alliance. The risk going in with this just to, and well, he is trying to, but Simple is holding his ground. Not quite for a second, but the trade is immediately there, and it's just Era now, 13 HP, and honestly, I think he can be lucky if he manages to stay alive, but actually he will be able to do so. Gets the kill and is falling back.
Bomb's on the other side of the map, and actually I think Prime taps here. Ooh, lovely shot, but 7 seconds. Can't find the kill, can't find the bomb. And actually, you know what? I will put my hands up, take back everything I said. The really weak buy gets it done, and it's the umps, it's the MP9s that really are successful here. I think, and huge kudos to the observer here, pointed out the AK that had been dropped earlier in the round that they go back and find. I think maybe a little bit of a, sort of they hop on up to the boost and then find it and go, ooh, actually that's a nice little bit of a surprise, but... Timeout called, because now there's a little bit of a worry for them. Their finances looking potentially mortal here. Oh, please, Simple, do not sell this weapon.
Oh God! Well,
how the mighty
yesterday we were excited for a shotgun, and it didn't quite pay off with that.
He's gone from the AWP to the pocket AWP, or is it a pocket AWP? Just sort of unscopable AWP.
Yes. Close range death machine. That's what we call it.
If they want money, it is a cash farmer.
Absolutely. I mean, he's been playing close range over towards B, so I can see him, well, so far tucking himself into cheater. Casanito is going in aggressive, good for a kill. He knows there's a second. So maybe it will eventually be time to shine for Simple, and actually just looking to play up close, just jiggling around the corner. Can't get too aggressive because then you have a long range battle ahead of you. My patience will or might be rewarded. Now, on the flip side of the map, Prime Taps is maybe in a bit of trouble. He's actually keen to go for a fight, but he gets upset, gets caught on the edge of the smoke. And with that, the lead will be greater on the side of Alliance. But Upe does fall. Nexa has actually a good position here. Goes to sneak on out. And if he gets that kill... Oh, but he won't. That it can really greatly cost PC Game. I mean, he is by himself.
He wins these.
It depends on what the decision will be for Alliance, honestly, because
you've got all of
I'm not sure if they have spotted Simple. They should know that he is the B player.
He's been on B the whole time, and they've cleared out all of A, but this bomb still isn't any closer to getting
that bomb is anxious. Is very much thinking that Simple is going to be behind them. And I mean, I would be scared as well if I was playing up against Simple. I want a player that would like to get in your head.
Yeah, I want to get a move on. Like, I know that they've got opportunity. They're leaving this really close.
I mean, 10 seconds? No.
They should be fine, but it's just an unnecessarily long time to wait.
Yeah, but this really shows sort of like the little demons inside their own heads, you know, that they are currently fighting. It's not even Simple. There's no immediate danger, but it's just the thought of what this man can do 1v3 that is stalling them for so long and making them, well...
If only they knew what weapon he actually had, because I don't think he got spotted or heard that entire time.
No, he didn't.
Because you're saying that there's so, you know, I think you would be though. 1v3 versus the god of Counter-Strike. You're like, oh god, he could pull this off. He's done it so many times. But what you don't see is that he sat in excavation with an XM.
Yeah. Yeah, to us it looked a little silly, but I get their understanding. Like, it was especially, you know, certain players were low, they were all kind of spread apart, and that the bomb essentially was by himself. So I get they took their time making sure that it was all clear.
I'm so confused why they thought there was still a player in cave, though. Because they had somebody over in CT, and they'd cleared the whole of A site, but still at the end they molly in towards cave?
Yeah, I am not
Paranoia, you know,
maybe they haven't cleared. Yeah, I mean, that was very clear from how that round was played out. But, you know, we got a new round, and they are up on 12 as we speak. So they only need one more to finish off this very first map and to upset them. Because it is BC Games map pick after all. So far, though, a good start on the CT side, even with them having lesser weapons.
And they've not been able to recover that one weapon that they just took down. And there you can see actually Ira's passing it on back to make sure they can't get their grubby mitts on it.
I like that. That is very smart. Still though, you are player down and it's going to be a calculated play here, I assume. You have your resources still left, some smokes, mollies that are going to be deployed now. Oh, well, Prime Temps is not quite caught in the fire, actually. He is tucked inside, but they are getting caught by the bullet firing. So far, so good. There's good damage up on Simple on the rifle as well. He might get boosted over the smoke.
Casanito here. Oh, he's been sensed. He's been taken down.
Well, the timer will continue to tick. The pressure is on, and there is not a lot here to work with for BC Game. The map could slip out of their hands at any second. Simple desperately trying to hang on with a spray, but it is not connecting. And with that, it is Alliance who is
Even half here. Alliance, it was their pick again. They had a 7-5 lead at the half, and then essentially a flawless CT side. So the key this time, I want to see a stronger CT side. Has to start with a pistol. Their pistols haven't been amazing today. Now is the time to get one on the board.
Exactly. There's definitely a bit of pressure for BC Game to do better than their last affair. Even though they have reached the final, in order to secure yourself a spot to regional finals and to really get the prize you want, you need to be the one winning this battle out.
The decoy going out there as well. I've been seeing a little bit more of them recently, and you know what? Not complaining, but decoy causes some sound over towards B, but now that that's over, it's going to start causing some questions. Prime Taps needs to step up here. These two players luring them away. Prime Taps trying to distract long enough for Casanito not to be overrun, but overrun he is, and they're not content with that. They want to push Archers, and Andu goes down. He hits the dirt. And now 2 versus 4. HP low on Upe, but still huge advantages, just applying the pressure with numbers. Nexa trying to come round the corner, trying to see if anybody's there, but everyone has already got themselves out of dodge, hiding on site, and post plants can be established here, and they are not going to give an inch for BC Games to try work with and pull the thread to get back into this round.
Yeah, with the absence of a kit, this is gonna get real tough real soon. There is a flash at most, but I can already see Simple going back here. Maybe Nexa is just hoping for some sort of kill to get under his wing, which he will. Goes for an additional fight and maybe hopes to get the enemies killed by the bomb, but that is pretty much the most you're gonna get out of this round. You know, on the flip side, Alliance has got themselves a bomb planned, a round win, and ultimately the best possible start.
Exactly, the best possible start that you could ask for. The pistol rounds, we said, Alliance just looking so much better on them. They've made them fairly expensive at least, but expensive pistol rounds are only so much of a mercy on, especially when you're on the CT side. I guess it's a difficult one, but Simple's got their shotgun back out. This time the Swag 7 in hand. And curious to see he's over towards Banana with it. They've had to concede a little bit of early space with that Molotov going deep, and now Smoke's going out to try and deter them a little bit, allow them to bolster up. But actually the choice to rotate over towards A has been made, and a little bit more heavy fire over there.
Taking their sweet time. So far, bomb still dropped over towards Team Ramp, so can still go anywhere. Just looking to explore the map a bit, put pressure up on those CTs. Playing up close and personal. Whoa, but spotted on the edge of the corner there, and Andu falls without having seen a single player. I mean, certainly he's heard the footsteps, heard the shots, and that means pressure is coming right up. The rotation has come in the form of Simple, who is playing with the lovely Swag 7 around the corner. Ooh, a bit of team damage there. not quite in favor, but still a player advantage for Alliance. And with that, a bomb will be planted, and it's especially the utility here that is going to be making this round so difficult for BC Game to get back into.
Exactly. The smoke over towards church there, and then they throw an even deeper one as it's fading, which means that they're pushed even further back. There's nothing they can really do there. They just want to keep hold of these weapons because it's going to be all they have going into the next round. Ube is really going hunting for a couple of these. Might not be able to find anyone, barring potentially prime taps, but he's tucked in nicely, hiding away in the bar there, but... Conversion on the second round, they keep it clean, they minimize casualties, and they take away a couple of the weapons for BC Games.
So round conversion found. I mean, couple scary kills here and there, but eventually kept at bay. And from there on out, it's the wall of smokes that are just inevitably hard to get through. So, second round secured and slowly building up the economy, keeping the majority of the players alive as well in the process, which is a big win. So far, a good setup here to kick off their T side and maybe slowly but surely march towards that victory here tonight. I mean, it's still that mixed buy that BC Game got in the bag, which could still be dangerous. We've seen that on the previous map as well over an Ancient, where sometimes the cheeky pistol that goes unchecked could do loads of damage. Oh, that is rough. Nade not only does damage, but will make the smoke disappear.
Simple. Nope, not gonna happen. Upe waiting.
What are you left to?
Yeah, they've been allowed to isolate all of these fights. They've been peeking one by one there. The banana control is absolutely incredibly taken. They do still have to plant the bomb here. Casanito's taken a bit of an interesting angle, but unfortunately the further he pushes here, the harder of a job that he is going to have, especially when they've already taken the first steps towards that A control, that apps control. Era finds the last pick and a 3-round lead. But money in the bank, we're finally going to get to see all guns out, though because they haven't been felled, a lot of these Galil still in the hands of Alliance, so they might come into this actually a little bit weaker in the arsenal department.
And this was the thing, you know, they lost a couple players early B. Their only tactic really was to try and push through A instead. And maybe you were granted a kill left or right, but wasn't going to happen. They had the numbers advantage, and with that, so far pretty clean on the side of Alliance, but now we have eventually rivals across the board. And what is the plan going to be? I mean, Andu goes for sort of a similar play. Oh, but Alliance 2 players up. Wow, luck is on his side this round. And with that, I mean, that's a gift. He's backing off. Maybe he needs to be a bit careful. He is half HP. But a 2-man lead. One way to start off a round.
He's half HP, but he's got, well, I said he had all the teammates he could ever want around him. They've actually gone over towards A little bit more, knowing that B's gone a little bit quiet. It would usually be at that point that if a team was going to rotate, they'd be looking at it, but they haven't chosen to do that. Another smoke comes out, and it's just stall after stall after stall, but I don't think they're going to want to respect the smoke. HE goes over utility of their own to try buy the space, but next they're going to pop out the perfect time, not expecting it. Fully blind, only get to one, but has done so much to hamper their attempt here. Andu still lurking around on site. We said he's half HP, he's been half HP the whole time, spraying, hoping he can find the bomb planted before it gets planted. Can't do so, but they are just going to dogpile Avid. There is no getting out of this round alive now. It's just a matter of who finds the pick first. They're swarming, hunting. He ducks his head down. They know where you are. There's no point hiding. He does get one. Actually gets a second, but there it is. Prime taps to finally put an end to the shenanigans.
Yeah, it was honestly Andu there lining up the double kill initially over towards Banana, which did the trick. You know, it's an early advantage, which makes it inevitably so much tougher to get onto side, which, sure, they did eventually manage. They got a bomb plant still out of it, but not the round. The damage had already been done. But with a reinvestment coming through, an orb will come out in the hands of Era here. So I'm excited to see, because we haven't seen too much orb shenanigans just yet, especially with how Ancient was quite back and forth, economy-wise. It just wasn't viable.
No, not viable at all. Tech pause going on through. Getting that out of the way and getting out of our system early, hopefully. I'm liking what I'm saying. We're finally getting to see some AWPs. It was very quiet from the sniper rifle department over on Ancient. Kind of to be a little bit expected, I guess, but... Tech pause over. Very quick one there. Very speedy. Now back into the game we go. Still a little bit missing here from BC Games, and by a little bit missing, I mean a little bit of utility. There's still an NP9 and Casanito missing from the kill feed so far, but potentially an opportunity this round going to be given, especially with a little bit of a heavier lean over towards A initially, where he happens to be residing.
A lot of noise down in towards middle and smoke in return. The eyes certainly are up on this part of the map. Meanwhile, they leave Banana so far pretty quiet. I mean, it's the AWP just holding out for any pushes. Twist now maybe goes to explore it a bit. Now an actively spot on the close corner. But noise certainly has been heard. And now moves will be made. Instead of Banana, they will go into bracket. A flash forces the roof player to jump away, duck into safety, and now he's getting shot from behind, and this is getting tricky. Left and right, there is players everywhere trying to swarm and conquer A, and so far job has been done. Well, almost. Time for the bomb plant now. I have to reposition just to make sure that no one's going to get killed and it's going to be a clean round.
Oh, Twist, there's no way that he expects it. Oh, wait, no.
Oh, no. Oh.
It's a good call that even though that they're so firmly planted on A, he still checks that, because we were criticizing a little bit over on Ancient that there were a couple of instances where not checking corners, not checking the sites fully had spiraled rounds quite substantially. Not gonna happen this time around, but look, I mean, they've got the money to go hunting at least a little bit here, so gonna try to take away a couple of these weapons, knowing there's at least an AK in the hands there. There's the first taken down. Anzu now the last left alive, good for one. I think Avid, though, wants to avenge teammates. Oh, he's not being heard just round the corner. Not gonna be saved by the bell this time in a fourth round. A lead established.
Money is in a bit of a weird spot for BC Game currently. Some players can buy, some people have about 2k left in the bank. So it's a bit mix and match, I guess. And with that, there's also a timeout now being called because that single round one in isolation, it's not great for the team's stance currently. I mean, the pressure as well, it's continuing to build up. They've lost their own map pick, and this needs to be the time to shine.
Needs to be a time to shine indeed. And they know it. They're calling a timeout to have a discussion about how they buff this team to be able to shine in the way that they need to right now. It's not necessarily going to be on this round, as you can see from the buy. It's going to be P250s, a Desert Eagle, and very limited arsenal to work with. However, looking ahead to the future, how they can claw this back a little bit more, use this round to limit test potentially. And now Nexa running on over, smokes to go out, not looking particularly eager to go too aggressive. I say that into Banana, runs through his own smoke. Anzu's going to find one with the fire, Casanito with another. And look at that peek around the corner. Era not expecting somebody so close, and they've whittled this down. The weapons should be able to be recovered in a second here. Actually, players on A site nowhere near the weapons. Peg has a chance here, walking onto the lesser defended site, armory-wise.
Just making sure to clear corners here on the journey back towards the bomb.
It's taking the scenic route.
I mean, at this point, you kind of have to. Middle might be a bit scary, but no one is actively holding out for him. Only on Banana, which he will have to cross in order to get to the bomb and T ramp.
Finds a pick here. He's got a very winnable round on his hands. Ooh, spotted a player. That sound is going to be the call to activate. Gathers up the bomb. Looks to head mid instead. I like this. Ooh, you can see Nexa not sure where to go. B-A. 25 seconds, he's going to have to be so quick, and I don't think it's going to be doable. All it's going to take is a single pick to stop him. He's not going to be able to be quiet about this now. He's going to have his location broadcasted loudly for the whole server to hear. And look at this. There's no way he's allowed to plant here. Finds the first pick, can't quite get the second. And there we go, spiraled the round. And actually, we said timeout called, had a little bit of a discussion. It's not even the long term they're looking at. Set plays coming out into this round. Era gets the first there. Unfortunately, maybe a bit of a miscommunication. Wasn't expecting a player so deep at Banana. He finds a pick there. Round maybe goes a little bit differently, but alas, not how the cookie crumbles.
Oh, exactly. And of course, BC game now, they've done that round on the back of a timeout, trying to prevent a sort of similar scenario from happening, that round one is gonna be just a singled out one. You want to find conversion, you want to build up momentum, and I mean, ultimately with how Alliance has a weak bye here, they have a very good potential of doing so to try and build a bit of a streak here. But nothing comes for free, especially here on that CT side. You can get overwhelmed with the pure speed and firepower that some of these Tech 9s got inside of them.
Is the pure speed in the room with us? I think it might be now, but... There you go. Ooh, that single smoke is they look like they wanted to go for it, but then they decided maybe not. And Prime Taps has taken down both players on A. He's heard nothing more, so is probably calling to send Undo back over towards B. And over towards B he goes again. This has been a very slow round, and they've got nothing to work with this. No utility. They just have to take the fights dry. There's the first. If they can find Nexa, but a perfectly timed peek out here, they're not going to be looking. There's the first, and can call over his teammates from behind. Nexa goes down, but Andu's there and waiting, and they crush this little bug of a fence before it can even really start to form.
Again, this is what you like to see when you're up against pistols. And Nexa here fighting on the back of the side, doing a lovely clean-up simulator. And now, I mean, again, and that's a buy versus a buy. Simple does have an AWP inside of his hands. Sort of the moment we have been waiting for, of course. But time to see, hopefully, it shine. And Alliance wanted to fight. I mean, so far on this map, they are definitely getting more contested. Poi does fall. And instantly Banana has become a bit of empty territory. Leaving that behind, dropping the bomb in the process as well. Maybe want to reinvest into this part of the map, because there are 3 players slowly creeping up now. But Andu, I mean, he stands to walk the first fight. Sure, he gets traded, but it's still a player advantage in favor of PC game.
Yeah, going 1-for-1 on trades only works if you came into it with an advantage, or you find at least the first pick in the duel. And as we said, Simple on the AWP on the right side for this as well. Holding nice little angle. Dodging the flashes. Molotov comes over. He's burning alive. Ooh, it doesn't quite spread. He's going to be allowed to stay there. Lovely peek up from Nexus. Good for one. Simple missed shot there. Needs to find the next. And ooh, oh so wary. Oh, a lovely adjustment onto Era. And Avid gets taken down in the midst of all of this as well. 4-4 scoreboard cleaned up. And we said Simple needed to be firing on all cylinders again today. A little bit of a slower match when these two teams last played. And it's not been an amazing start into this match, but killing that round looks very good. Really helps them spiral it up, still securely in his grasp. Timeout called from Alliance gives them an opportunity to get their coach on the line as well. see what better use they can put this AWP to continue this round streak and not let Alliance run away with a really strong T side again.
Yeah, and in classic sort of Inferno fashion, goes quite back and forth. I mean, it's not quite a map like Mirage, but this is, I guess, a bit more of what we hope to see here in this grand final. I mean, Ancient definitely already delivered better in comparison to last time, which was definitely a bit of a sweep in favor of Alliance. But BC Game, because when you have that spirit inside of you to want to fight and want to hang on, magic certainly can happen. And this is realistically the chance here to get into the lead, because it's just a couple of upgraded pistols here that they're going to be going up against. I think ultimately if you're Alliance here, you want to see if you can group up and see if you can overwhelm.
Overwhelm. It looks... Alliance have looked so much more passive over the past couple of rounds. And yeah, they're on pistols this time around, but they've just really lost the pep in their step that was overwhelming BC Game. But methodical. Some would praise the approach, but just the pistols. I'm a little bit interested to see how these one-by-one peaks are going to prove successful. Ooh, waiting. Oh, here's the footstep. Smoke goes out, but unfortunately Flash is ahead of it. That smoke is going to do nothing to deter them. And look at that, Avid, a jump on up. This is the firepower, the pace that we were talking about being overwhelming. Casanito finding one is huge to whittle down the numbers. Simple nade goes deep. It's going to be huge with so many of these players low HP. It's getting very, very risky. Simbi runs round to the corner. Oh, it's absolutely amazing. He chases them back onto site and pushes them further back, corners them. Look at this though. Hiding in the smoke. Oh, Era's got to be careful.
What?
Oh, it's bait in time. And unfortunately, they're trying to bait him into with a fight. There's the one. He's heard the second player there. Simple, though, is not going to let this round slip away. And it's so, so messy, so, so scrappy. But BC Games at least gets it over the line.
Oh, that was honestly too close for comfort. Because especially when that bomb went down, I thought they could have this in the bag. They got the kill up on prime taps as well. It got scary. Did not quite like how that looks for BC Game. Once again, it tends to be like, even if Alliance doesn't win the round, even on just pistols, they can manage to get onto a bomb site and quite easily plan, which means even extra cash in the bag for them. So yeah, ultimately, you know, also the economy-wise, some players, their economy is in the bin on the side of BC Game, and with the scoreline being close still, that could make things a bit scary. But then again, new round, new chances. Casanito did fall already, though, over towards the middle. And looks like Alliance are hoping to explore that part of the map. Good flashbang out. And that means another kill on the side of Alliance. But Simple is here already. Oh my god, he turns around. He's good for 3 kills. And this is the Simple that we are used to seeing. He manages to save the round here, potentially, but Upe is still standing, can't get the job done, close, but no cigar. Andu will close it out. My lord. Again, these rounds have been a bit of a roller coaster, only this time, definitely a lot more fast-paced.
Oh, anything less than perfection there, and it's all over. Gets the first, spins around for the second, and ready for the third there. Genuinely just immaculate. That this time around, we saw the no scope yesterday, was just nuts. Yeah, it's been a little bit of a quieter game, but they've got the AWP in his hands, and that's where he really starts to show the comfort. Early damage is going to be pretty big onto Avid and Twist, and now Era's got a lot of space to work with, but the watching, waiting eye of Simple not too far away could be a little bit of a worry. Hunter with the smoke kills has been absolutely nuts this match. Okay, Simple's got another one. That's going to deter them. I say that's going to deter them from A. Era, the only player still kind of hanging around there. 3 versus 5. They've got to go back for the bomb. They've still kind of got banana control. They've whittled down a lot of the utility over towards B now. Just a single flashbang. But they've still got so much work they have to do to actually get themselves onto site here. So much they have to clear and work with. Undo. Smoke in his face is actually just going to look to peek out potentially. Unfortunately, Nexa hops on through there. The flash is good, but it comes just a second too late. Nexa's found both, and now Era, just a matter of who finds the pick.
At the beginning of the round, I was a bit scared with how passive again BC Game was playing into that round and left Banana pretty much open for them to take. But when the eventual push came on through, Nexa, which has been proven a really solid anchor there over towards B. He does it again, multi-kills, and with that, his 7th round he's secured, and it means for Alliance, sort of the time will start to tick to get more rounds on the board. Again, a lot of these rounds have been close.
Yeah.
But can't quite get it done just yet.
I mean, BC Game's already a way better CT side than when these teams last battled, which is a really good sign because, of course, they lost to their own map pick coming into this. So an 8-4 would be incredible. 7-5, not going to mind it. Twist through the smoke, trying to catch Undo off guard. Ooh, slightly too long range with the MAC-10. Smoke's going to go on out. Site is going to be sieged. And now Molotov just to clear out the backside. They're not going to spot anything. They can get the bomb down early here. Rotate's taking a second to come on through. And there's not much utility to work here. With one more smoke for CT, should they want it to try funnel them in towards Church.
Oh, Simple again on the all player spotted, and they're still clearing out Banana here, but the CT side is playing their A game. They're forcing players out of their position. They are conquering the side as we speak, and this utility, it is hard to get through. Where are the players? You have no idea. You are getting swamped. And with that,
rounds in a row to bring us to this scoreline. 8-4 BC Games. They want to take us to a third map. Their pistols haven't been good so far today, but they've got a buffer in a worst case scenario. But this would be the cherry on top, the icing on the cake, if they could secure themselves a pistol here to really kick off this second half. Twist wanting to get aggressive. Spots one head, actually decides just to back away, reload, get ready for the onslaught. More bullets hail his way, and he's just going to hold the line diligently. Actually, none of his team called over just yet, so it's just him here, waiting.
I think a slow flash comes out. Doesn't really do much, but it could be a warning signal as to what is about to come. A smoke being dropped over here for Twist to use, but it might be a bit too late. He is going to be deploying it now. I'm not sure if it's really going to be stopping them. The answer is no. He gets decapitated, and the bomb site is going to be theirs. BC Game is starting off on a roll.
They absolutely are. They've still got players in Banana to defend, so they don't even have to move away from the site to establish a post plant. No time taken at all. Difficult round to win here now for Alliance. There is a kit available on Upe, but have to get it to site first. Simple. Gonna peek one out there. Antu with another. He's gonna hear so much commotion. Takes down the first, but unfortunately the trade game isn't even gonna happen because Andu just keeps on firing. Prime taps with the last, and it is a massacre in the pistol, finally securing themselves one, and a 9th round in the mix, and that is going to stop that CT economy ever getting off the ground.
Yeah, this is rough. And again, I mean, it's a bit of a reverse because initially we started out with a T-side win as well, and a good early start for Alliance, but it only kind of stalled towards the latter stages of half one. And now the momentum has completely shifted, and honestly, BC Game is doing a lot better here in comparison to Ancient. Even though they were still sort of close, right now I really feel that BC Game has sort of answers for the protocols that Alliance puts into play. Now, maybe with them being on CT side, it becomes a bit different, but by the time that they get economy on board, most likely BC Game is already going to be on double digits. And that's a very scary scenario.
It's like making pancakes. I use this analogy all the time, is that when you make pancakes, the first pancake is never good. It always goes wrong. And it's like maps. So the BC Games sometimes have a little bit of a slower first map to get into it. And, you know, Simple did not have the greatest of starts until he got that AWP in his hands. But now it's smooth sailing. Twist, desperately, frantically firing off, is not going to be able to connect a magic shot through the smoke. We're waiting, hoping that somebody's going to poke a head on up. Casanito is, but they're not going to be able to find him in response. Next are fully blinded, just firing, covering fire, and actually the call to save has been made super early. They're not going to have much in the next round, so if you can keep hold of any of these upgraded pistols, it's a very, very minute consolation prize, but a prize nonetheless.
Yeah, it's something, but it still is far from ideal because that means next round you're gonna still have this rough buy. I guess it's still better than a 4 on eco. But yeah, it's looking a bit grim here for Alliance. They were hoping to perhaps close it out in a 2-0 fashion, but it's smelling a lot more like map 3 could be awaiting us.
Yeah, every round we get a little bit closer, a little bit more certain that this was not as done as the opening of this map might have suggested. Alliance, yeah, difficult round to try find much with. They've stacked it up heavily in the util department. Smoke to go out. Not particularly deep there, just to stop an initial rush, give them the opportunity to get to sandbags and have a sit down. Spray through the smoke. It's wild, it's haphazard, but at the end of the day, it's just a little bit of covering fire. Assert their dominance and assert their presence just to keep these B players on edge. And it's going to give them so much opportunity for these A players to work their magic under the pretense that B a little bit more under siege than it actually is.
Sure, CTs keep them at bay for the time being, but a lot of resources are already invested into this round, and question is for how much longer can they stall them for?
Well, it turns out they could stall them for a little bit longer, a fair bit longer actually, and they're just sat waiting. There's not much presence over towards A right now. A nice little pop over. They could deal with Era and Poi pretty quickly. Flash to go over the top. They're looking to run this on down. They know that there's been a couple of instances of a crossfire here. Era not going to be able to find anything. Desperately, frantically trying to get out of the corner that he was pinned in, but will be unsuccessful. Now 4 versus 3. Sight falls. There is absolutely nothing to get them back into this. A flash on Twist, but once that's expended and with so many angles, it's going to be impossible to deal with. And Twist is all the way in bottom mid, not going to be anywhere near the fight, and at this point there's not even going to be weapons to pick up.
Oh, it's very, very dire looking. I mean, Twist is about to get found as well. Nothing that gets taken home, and I mean, at least they can, you know, reinvest right now, but there is a lot of making up to do. Very, very large gap.
Yep.
And yeah, it kind of needs to be now. If it's not going to happen now, it's going to be over and done with. We are going to map.
In the words of John Bon Jovi, it's now or never.
It is.
And unfortunately, there's not really much to work with financially in this round. And then next round is map point. But this is what we saw. This is what we saw from BC Games, what they were up against over on Ancient. They managed to stall it out for a fair bit longer with a buy maybe not too dissimilar from this, a little bit worse than this even. Undo looking for the first fight, spots a shoulder, Twist, lovely headshot coming on through just to keep them off. Smoke goes out, and because it's so early, they're not even going to look at pushing that, just going to force them to fall back themselves. Prime Taps has got a little bit of control here in alt mid. Gives them an opportunity to potentially pivot over towards A should they so desire. Now,
well, Banana so far uncontested. They might want to give this a look in. Looks like they are lining up for utility here. With 45 seconds left on the clock, this push is going to be it. There's a rotation on the way, though, in the form of Era. But is it going to be enough? There's one smoke to try and stall them. But so far, they go 1 for 1. The timer, though, does continue to tick, so the longer they wait, the smoke will eventually disappear. And is the flash going to be enough? There's a lineup, in fact, here for Twist. That's a double kill. And suddenly it is all simple by himself on the site. Can't get the job done. And Alliance hang on for another round.
They do. You can't help but feel that this is maybe an instance of live to die another day, but they line up for Twist. It's a good round. We said that this was exactly the kind of round that we saw from BC Game to stall out Ancient for as long as they did. So potentially a comeback could be mounted off the back of this, but they're not going to be given any reprise. The finances for BC Game are looking so good right now. They can immediately buy back into this. And then the round after with just so much firepower. And then loss bonus starts to rack up by that point. So it'll look pretty good for them. And it needs to be nearly flawless here. They've run out of contingency rounds to play with here, Alliance. They don't have the opportunity to maybe limit test. They don't have any buffer. They do just have to full pedal to the metal for the rest of this map. And even then, need to more than double the rounds that they have. And we've just not seen that since the beginning of the game. They had 4 consecutive rounds to start us off with, and then it all kind of fell apart pretty dramatically after that. No, it wasn't even 4 rounds, so it was 3 rounds in a row, and it was a pistol, the conversion, and then the first kind of gun round, but it wasn't really a gun round because BC Game had bought the round before, so they've not been able to piece together anything more than 3 rounds so far in this map.
Yeah, no, whereas over on Ancient, I felt it was quite a lot more calculated. They did a lot better getting map control. Right here, Lions is a bit scared, is forced to play passive. Maybe now we see a bit of a change with, you know, all the rifles up on board. The last round went pretty solid. But again, the stakes are quite high, so I feel like them taking risks like we've seen on Ancient, but probably most likely I'm not going to be seeing that here on this map. Maybe Poi here, though. He gets flashed in, goes into clear the cubbies. I mean, so far he does manage to tuck himself in pretty deep. Is, of course, by himself. But that is already some solid map control, forcing BC Game into bracket instead.
Yeah, it's sort of tunneled them in one direction. That could prove to be a good thing. Alternatively, they're allowed to isolate these fights, which that first fight coming up with Era looked like a possibility. Upe's got 1. Asadito lining up the utility. Has to take a second to dodge a couple of flashes, and HE's... Boy... To peek or not to peek, that is the question. He does look like when he wants to go for this. Oh, the flash. It's kind of counterproductive there. Boy gets 1 and is able to back away, knowing that the flash thrower a little bit further removed from the situation. Era popping his head on up. Isn't going to spot anything initially. Simple, beautiful shot there for 1. Buys them a foothold in towards A. They can try and crunch down on here, but they've got to deal with Poi as well as Avid. There's the first Pincer gone.
Oh, and suddenly it's Simple left standing with an AWP once more. I'm starting to get a bit of a deja vu. Oh, not quite the tag. And with that, forced to look away, face a different angle. And with that, it is all done and dusted. Another round on the board for Alliance. Yeah, and over here, Banana, I mean, that was a lovely kill, even while sort of blind. Not quite enough here to hang on to, and suddenly the economy has been broken on the side of BC Game. And that is the opportunity for Lions to suddenly creep a bit closer.
Yep. I mean, when we say creep a little bit closer, they've taken one step. There's still a marathon for them to creep here. But an opportunity, a window, they bought themselves an eco to go up against. Era missed shot to open this up. Would have been a lovely early find because it means that, you know, you've got those pistols to go up against. You know that the overwhelming firepower, hoping that they can overwhelm with more bodies than you have bullets, but without that opening shot, it means that they've just got a little bit more strength to work with. Lovely flash onto Poi. He's now going to be trapped here in Sandwich. Good for one. He just holds down the trigger for a second. Twist can activate. Nexa gets one, but that's all he wrote. Simple, clean with the shots. Gets another, but Upe going to look to push the issue here. Another missed shot from Era. This isn't looking particularly good. Luckily, Upe has got his back long range with the silenced pistol, but the fact that it comes down to both of them having to pull out their sidearms is maybe a little bit misshapen.
Trying to connect it. But yeah, this is a lot better looking. Obviously, that was up against a lesser buy, and it's time to prove themselves once more now that there is AKs back on the table, with the exception of Simple.
I swear, if they come back and win this,
I mean, never say never. It is Counter-Strike. We have a switch side. CT is definitely the more favorable one for both of them. But now they go almost 1-for-1. Andu has been tagged, and so has Nexa, but it is eventually BC Game who take the player advantage here at the early start of the round. They do back off out of Banana. Not quite worth maybe contesting for it, unaware of maybe there are a couple more players. And they just take it slow again.
Yeah, good option here just to pull back on the reins a little bit. Gives Alliance a little bit more room to poke and prod. They've not heard anything just yet, but they've been really good, actually. The call to rotate everybody over to this A site, an absolutely immaculate read. Era needs to step up, finds the first pick. Avid's got the second. Falling back in the Molotov there to try and isolate that angle. Prime Taps has got one to even the numbers, and Avid going down there is absolutely monumental. Era needs to hit some more shots. Nade kill finds one, and it's snappy for the second. Simple goes down, and they buy themselves an 8th, narrowly avoiding a comeback into that round. And it's dispatched off very tactfully.
So far so good again. And yeah, if the momentum starts to switch and BC Game get up inside their heads, could still be a big hurdle here to finish off this map and get yourselves to a third. And this is, you know, the painful reality of Counter-Strike. When you are so close, you still need to get it over the line. You need the funds in order to do so, which are currently not present again. Gotta take it maybe a round at a time at this moment. The same goes for Alliance, of course, who still have that dream of closing it out 2-0. We too need to take it a step at a time.
Yes, there's already been a way more successful Inferno. If they can still secure the victory 2-0, that'll be great. But Upe, oh, so aggressive over the top. Casanito is going to punish, and you can't help but feel maybe overextended more than a little there.
Oh. I mean... Oh, no, doesn't actually get tagged there up in the cubby. Moves away in time before the nade strikes as well. But it looks like BC Game certainly still has this... Well, I wanted to say preference. Maybe I wanted to commit to apps, but with all the close corners and them just having pistols, I mean, it could waterfall out of apps. But a bit of a change of plan, it seems, here. Might actually be the call. Currently only a single B player.
Now, B has been historically weak. They've had a lot of success over towards that side of the map, so... You know that last round they rotated everybody over towards A very quickly, so maybe you can hope that they've done the same in this round, and actually, as we can see, B site is looking particularly volatile right now. Flash goes over, Avid readying himself, steadying the ship, or at least attempting to. knows he's not going to be able to push through either of these angles. HE to go over the top, hoping he can catch somebody on the cross, open up an area for Era to work with, but actually nobody is going to be visible there. Bomb's going to go down, and they're going to try escape. Twist, lovely pick through the smoke there is going to keep them all hiding backside. They're actually going to start congering over to Church there. They were going to line up for Twist, but they line up for Avid instead. And all the time in the world for the defuse to bring this 11-9. Coming back into this, that gap that looked like a chasm only a couple of rounds ago, looking ever so small now.
That was honestly the round of the lineups, it seemed, through the smoke and over towards Church. Solid stuff. And again, we'll have to give credit to BC Game, though, with limited amount of resources and pretty solid reads of how Alliance likes to play up the CT side, because they do end up going into the side with only that single defender there, which eventually grants them that bomb plant. So a little bit of extra resources now with that into this round. But the stakes are high. You know, you have, again, another shot of trying to get it to 12, then you still need to close it out, of course. But with Alliance now breathing down your neck, pressure is definitely getting real.
Yeah, and of course, grand finals here, a slot in the regional division, VRS points, prize pool. There's so much on the line for these teams. The prestige as well, as I think, is a big one. We talked about how both of these teams were in that first Cash Cup and have already done monumentally better, both of them, than they did last time. Alliance grand finalists through the upper bracket, having gone 17th to 24th in the first, and huge steps being made by BC Game, of course, as well. So it's good to see such improvement already and in such a short window of time. Everyone warming up a little bit more into the series. I'm glad that this wasn't a complete wipe, because when they played versus each other last time, it was very quick affair.
Absolutely, it was. And it was especially the T side for BC Game where things got a bit lackluster when they switched sides. And they only won one round and then it was done. So far it definitely looks better. But again, they are struggling more here on that T side. And we gotta wait and see if they can still do the job, or if they once again will stagnate and Alliance will take over.
Yeah, we will have to see indeed. BC Game technically a little bit better rating on their T side on this map, and hopefully we can see them dig deep and draw upon that. Era missed opening shot, albeit very slim chance to hit that one, but actually is not going to be given an opportunity for a second. That ship has long since sailed over towards Banana. The whole team shuffles. There's a little bit more presence here. They're playing passively, so no opportunity for an opening sneaky pick on anybody playing car here. H goes on top of their heads, actually going to do a load of damage. Slowly pressing on forward. Smoke's going to go out, and it's not going to have too much effect with that CT smoke. Andu hunting for an opening pick. Boy, doesn't want to be the one to give it away. Gets one instant trade from Simple. Twist now hiding, so scared. Needs to find Andu. Here's the drop down. Here's the footsteps. Has to hide in the smoke, but it's not quite quick enough. Avid wants to run on forward to try stop this round hemorrhaging any more than it already has, but unfortunately just dies in the process. Makes the problem even worse. 2 versus 4. Yeah, the bomb hasn't gone down yet. Era's got an angle to work with, but with players on either side and a Molotov dropped at his feet, there's nowhere to go.
It's almost a bit of a miracle. It's trying to spray down through the smoke. Era sure will eventually get one kill, but now a retake with an ARP seems very, very unlikely. 1v3. Might still want to give it a look in. There is definitely funds on his back. Ooh, that's awkward, getting caught out. Trying to flash, gets double peeked, and that is a bye-bye. And eventually, the 12 that BC Game was hoping for, they get it done. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, Alliance definitely is a lot closer than they were initially, because I believe it was 11-4, and now we have 12-9. So this is a lot more likely that Alliance can still try to fight for overtime here. But at least BC Game here is has a definitely a big advantage now.
They have a huge advantage. They have 3 opportunities to close this one on out. Era has missed a couple of shots, won't miss that one, however. Era dropping some util for Poi just to pick up if he needs to. Can throw a couple of deeper smokes there, go back and retrieve them, and they can now really bolster this A site. A decision to be made. Do they want to send Poi over as well? He's jiggling with the idea of it. Somebody needs to be the bastion of this B site in case they come back. Oh, Era spotted a shoulder and heard a drop down there. H needs to go over the top. Oh, it's too greedy, hoping to soften them up. He's only going to give them over the pick that they need. Going 1-for-1 here. The trade game begins, and there's more players for the T side here than the CTs. Nexa tucked on into the corner, hoping for an opportunity to be presented. It will not. They have to make the first move eventually. Should I say that? Getting hungry to retake this control. They peek 1 by 1. They'll be taken down 1 by 1. And BC game, 1 player left. It's just Poi. You know that was the B player. The bomb planted, ready up. 1 versus 3. There's a whole pelt of utility. There's a kit, but there's not a hope in hell to pull this one off. Look in the wrong direction. Gonna get swung on. And Nexa to find the final pick. That is it. 13 here. The big one, I think, is to deny a bomb plant, because BC games, when they've been on the half buys, have been incredibly disruptive. So if they can try stop any shenanigans in this pistol, win it out cleanly, it'll be a lovely first step. BC game, as I just said, a pistol round win would be incredible. A bomb plant also so. Looks like Era wanting to take a little bit of a fight already. Spotted somebody on out, but it's long range. He can't quite find it. He's actually just going to give it up at this point. It's tempted to go over the top to allow them to take this mid space. It's a very methodical approach to the pistol round.
Yeah, take it slow. Look for maybe any pushes that are to come, and then if that's not going to be the case, now slowly taking some mid control. Couple of tags, but shouldn't be too much to worry about here for BC game. Just taking it a step at a time. And with that mid control, you can go into tunnels. You can maybe see if there is potential for a B split, but you got to deal with Era. Ooh, backs off maybe at the perfect time, honestly. But he soon will know what might be up with that smoke that gets thrown. He's waiting for the right moment to throw in a flash, which he will do. Not quite hitting the timing there, but he does manage to escape, and that means a lot of pressure upon him and Upe. And Upe is certainly good for 1. Now, Twist does fall. Era does grab 1 more, but it does rain majority yellow up in that kill feed. Bomb has been planted, and it's only Poi left to rotate.
Yeah.
Well, position has been revealed. He is looking everywhere but where the players are. And with that, it is BC game securing the pistol.
I think it's because they're so tunnel visioned on the push through mid doors there. Is that they are not expecting Casanito where he is. He's so disruptive there. And the fact that he's still going towards the end, lovely round, lovely positioning to draw so much of the attention away. Make them think that mid is the only place that they need to be particularly worried about. As we said, pistol rounds haven't been great, but we said we wanted a pistol or we wanted a bomb plant. We were given a pistol. We've been given a lovely buy. There is going to be a force to try and counteract this, get themselves back on the board and in the running early on. Upe doing more damage to his own team than his opponents right now, but they've established so much heavy control here initially, and actually now going to back away, maybe feeling a bit overkill to have stepped this far.
I mean, maybe it's these types of risks that can help win a round that you feel that you maybe need in order to secure it.
Well, I mean,
but you know, it's the high risk, high reward.
This is where they were burnt in the pistol round, so I think putting the extra focus there is good. But the issue is that the only eyes that they've even got remotely near mid is Upe and tunnels there, and he's not exactly had the widest window of view. But there's a lovely opening shot. Nexa not able to trade it on up. Era close range with the MP9 pixel angle to work with, gets 1. Nexa being chased down here by Upe. And it's a lovely way to kick this off. We said the force buy to try and keep this in contention early, and they'll find it. Casanito again just pushes out on to be unstoppable. Smoke goes out, but the issue is Simple has the bomb and he's working elsewhere in the map. potentially able to get a little bit of a timing over towards A, unsuspected. But they are floating the idea right now that B might not be the final resting place.
Slowly but surely creeping out on short. Still tucked in, seated. Oh, this timing can be everything. Casanito finds the kill. There's a trade, though. But Simple does manage to plant that bomb. Has information on one player. And if he... Oh, well, he catches the deeper player as well. Surely he should know there's one already a bit closer. So timing will be everything. Spots the player boosting up. Spots the head of the other. But isn't quite there in time in order to land that second kill as well. And that means we go back and forth.
Yeah, lovely round to pick up. A couple of moments in that run where I'm sucking my breath, going, oh, that's a lot closer than it needs to be. The fact that he gets the information on both and that the fights are allowed to be isolated as well is huge. I mean, Avid lucky there at the end, but they've done themselves a huge service here by finding that round and putting the Tech-9s back in the hands of BC Game. There is a Galil available, but that's going to be the statement piece of this. I say that, the statement piece, and then Simple pulls out a scout. Might as well. Shot fired off, but Era is going to capitalize. He's got the bigger sniper. He's got the better one, so he is going to find that opening pick. Looking for a little bit more. No one really wants to show their face after that. Wants to part open the smoke and just keep this window of vision going. Twist super close up to long doors here. Anybody even wants to remotely poke their head, he is going to know about it.
Ooh. Oh my god. Well... 2 for 1, but in the end there it does tie things up. It's 3v3 as we speak. So they are still yet to set foot onto that bomb side. And I mean, that certainly is going to make things a bit trickier. If you take the short player out, you boost yourself up and suddenly a lot more space to work with. But the AWP up close, that can be a bit tricky. And it indeed will deem so. Going 1 for 1 again. Still a player advantage. But only time will tell, because we have poised position compromised. Nexa will go for that kill, but where is that remaining player? Upe is there, and the timing should be his. He's not looking the right way, not there in time. Sure, bomb plan secured, but the follow-up round will go the way of Alliance.
Yeah, that short player going down is absolutely everything. Prime taps, needed to stay alive there realistically. Again, I got a little bit worried towards the end because it came down to a matter of 2 1v1s. Utility caught out. Boy goes down, but luckily it just managed to sneak around, hadn't been spotted at all. A single footstep or anything gives away the game and could go very differently. But alas, not how the round played out. Era's got AWP in hands. BC Game, again, with a little bit of a weaker buy, but they still really want to say something about this. They're not going to let any of these rounds go quietly.
This is early here for a timeout.
Yeah.
I mean, I am, maybe a bit skeptical with how early this is, and so far it's still pretty back and forth, but I guess BC Game definitely does feel the pressure of this final map. This is sort of kind of a do or die moment. Sure, you have your prize money, you have your VRS points, but it is that number 1 spot that gives you a shot of making it to Pro League, and if you don't make it now, you got to do it all over again with another full-on cup in about 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, and it seems that everyone has been ramping up. Like, the improvements we've seen from ECL Cup 1 to 2, especially for these 2 teams, but across the board, the level of CS we've seen step up quite dramatically. So it seems to be getting harder the more that everyone is warming up into the format. Oh, Twist bites off way more than he can chew with that peak. And it's going to leave this A site feeling very wounded. They're going to call people across really early to try and deal with this.
Once again, go out long here. So far, just smoke there. But gonna try and nade themselves through, make it disappear, a bit back and forth, but they actually managed to deal long range with the AWP. A lot of pressure now coming their way, and honestly, this should be the end of the round. It's only Upe who is left standing on the other side of the map.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I feel about Era's position there. Because there was a little bit of a window over towards the right, but he didn't really feel like fighting that angle. When the HE gets blown open, there's a missed shot, and he stood basically out in the open. And when all of his support system goes down, it's just there's nothing left for him to work with. He stood out in the open with a weapon that's not even going to let him escape particularly quickly. Upe is going to be fighting for his life to keep hold of the single solitary rifle.
Oof. Not gonna stand much longer. And well, I guess the timeout that we were perhaps a bit skeptical of, it definitely did work out. I mean, as you said, the positioning on the side of Alliance wasn't maybe the greatest either. It's a bit of both. But, you know, you need to adapt, you need to exploit your enemy's vulnerabilities, and so far they did a pretty good job doing that. And then hoping to see if they can convert onto a little bit more. Definitely economy-wise, it is heavily in their favor. Twist already taken out, Poi taking a good hit with the AWP. So far, a good start.
Yeah, an absolutely lovely start. Era now just with the scout, hoping to find something. He's going to have a whole onslaught to try and deal with. First player picked off. Oh, just ahead, visible, but that's all he needs, especially with the scout jiggling with this angle, wanting a little bit more. Unfortunately, long-range headshot with the Galil's going to put all of that to bed, but he's whittled the numbers a tiny bit. Jump on up to short there, Handu. Gonna try and punish. Smokes are there to cross, and this is a very awkward angle for them to try and fight. But there's a player trying to crunch long, but so far removed that it's not going to be applying any pressure. And by the time that he can work his way around, that bomb's going to go down, and it's going to be an even harder fight to try and win.
And honestly, what are you going to do long with a pistol in hand versus rifles? It's pretty much a lost cause. And with that, it is also BC Game who survived with the majority of the players, so economy-wise, they're slowly starting to get into a better spot and get themselves the momentum that they were looking for.
Momentum has been very much a hot topic today. Alliance, I mean, they had a little bit of a look there, but BC Game just stormed through that first half of Inferno. It's definitely been a little bit more hotly contested in the early stages. This map, in another tech pause, I can't help but worry sometimes. We talked about momentum. It keeps getting, stagnated and cut off a little bit by this choppy stop, start, stop, start. And with the back and forth, the economies as well have been in a spot of bother. But with Alliance on the CT side, that's going to feel the burn of that on and off a little bit more.
Yeah, we've actually had quite a bit of, I mean, not major tech issues, but definitely a couple of rounds where there were some small slip-ups. Technical-wise, but luckily they get resorted to quite quickly. But, yeah, only Castanito, I mean, he has this bonus weapon, which is a Mech 10, so he can just get up close and personal, farm a bit of extra cash, help out the economy even further, because right now they are up against just USPs, so it's gonna be a stack, which actually might end up walking into, because all 5 of them are going to be exiting long doors and awaiting potential demise. Oh, Castanita certainly has spotted him. Simple now as well. Looks like they are still going to be going for it. Not evading the danger, just hunting them down. Prime taps, sure, did fall. But so far, I mean, this side cleared out. And, well, Era, the last remaining player, was the sole B anchorer. So, with that, they're kind of scouting because they realize he is not home. He must be somewhere else. But where is he?
Yeah, sometimes you see these pistol stacks and it's like, oh, if they can run into the stack of pistol. Oh, okay, there we go. I was going to say, there's no doubt in our minds, but with the pistol stacks, there's usually, if you can try and overwhelm and you can find an opening pick. But the issue is that it wasn't the overwhelming firepower of everyone there. They were just in one place to be taken out in one foul swoop. Long range with the pistols, it's an awkward, cumbersome fight. But BC Game's starting to put a little bit of something together on the board. Already done better on their T side than they did. Done better on the T side in the first third of the half than they did the entirety of the first half last time they played. And that's a really good sign to see improvements being made. Twist. Early bit of a look. Keep hold of this control. He's worried that somebody might have crossed. Now, we can see that they haven't, but he's still got that bit of a doubt in his mind. And Flash to go over as well is going to allow him to push a little bit further if he'd like to. But actually, maybe the call to back away might be the right decision.
Oof, eating that nade. Well, from ideal, but gotta keep on... Continue with the mission as follows. Oh, there's actually a follow-up nade. Ooh, it's getting a bit more tricky now. Below half HP. And he's the sole short player. He's getting as incendiary right beneath his feet as well. Like, it's as if they can smell that he is around the corner. But it's only one player, though. The majority still is looming outside of long doors. A part of the map where they have been quite a couple times before already and had quite a large chunk of success. Gonna try and go for a repeat once more. Util is out, but CTs are pretty much present, all in CT and already up on short, so it could still get very tricky to try and set foot upon this bomb site.
Trying to set foot upon a bomb site is going to be a huge struggle here. Upe in the smoke, it's just a matter of who, and as they try and lure him out, lure they will, and Andu falls, and that is going to be a round on the board. Alliance not willing to let this slip too far too quickly. Keep this hotly contested. A game of cat and mouse to kick us off this half. It's going to mean not really too much to go up against BC Games right now. With the money between Simple and Andu, the whole team should be able to buy whatever they damn well please.
Exactly. So, no pressure. But, I mean, ultimately, you know, they are calling a timeout here. The round did not go the way they wanted that to go.
Not quite.
Not quite. So time to rethink everything. Try again.
Timeouts. A lot of timeouts being used very early on here.
I mean, it's pretty much all on the side of BC Game. It just makes me worry a bit that they feel the pressure a bit more in comparison to Alliance, who is even around behind currently.
Oh, what a flashbang out on towards the long doors players there. Hera's got one, and it's almost allowed. I say it's almost out. It's allowed the opportunity for Twist to escape there. Smoke's going to blossom. Another incredible flash. They're burning alive. The utility is relentless this round.
They had to do a good job stalling, and now suddenly CTs are getting close. Couldn't quite maybe reposition the way they want to, but done a good job either doing damage, keeping them at bay for the time being, setting themselves up for success. And surely, yes, they are. Avid, sure, he is dead, but Twist is good for free, is hoping to land himself the final one, and he will do so. A lovely 4K coming out of him. And again, positioning, the timing of the flash, it is everything. Like, pretty much every single flash blinded a minimum of 2 players in that round. That is absolutely incredible stuff.
Yeah, super quick rotate on over as well, because they have absolutely nowhere near the level of utility to do that if they don't, you know, levy those B players to expend their resources in the A assault. So, exciting.
I do want to say, though, like, at this moment, it does feel like BC Game has pretty much sort of a similar game plan every single round. Like, we see A being hit a lot here. Not a whole lot of B action thus far. And it feels a bit like a story repeating itself. And with that, Alliance, you know, the way how quickly they were able to send over reinforcements over towards A and were pretty much ready for that to be a full-on push. They knew what was happening. They were getting red. So maybe BC Game needs to be doing something a little bit different. Currently, I is a bit more up on middle. And, well, they know that there's an AWP right behind that smoke, and with some pistols in hand, you might just want to see if you can rush a bit fast, see if you can overwhelm, and they will do so. The AWP is left there.
Gonna clear this out. Yeah, they are. Flash, ooh, goes over the top. Twist, not quite expecting them as far along as they are in this attack. Boy, heading on up. So many heads to shoot on, but every time they take down one, another one appears. A lot of team damage done in the mix of all of this as well, but Upe 1 versus 2 needs this first fight, but this smoke, it's taking its time to dissipate, stall upon stall upon stall. On the plus side, there's been no weapons recovered, which gives him a huge leg up here, but needs to win out this first fight. Quick adjustment, but no prime taps with the prime position. Absolutely incredible. They find themselves around where they have maybe not no business winning it, but incredibly low chances. Put themselves a leg up, and we've got whiplash with how much we're going back and forth between these teams.
Yeah. Oh god. It is Dust 2, isn't it? Now, yeah, as you said, like that, it wasn't like it was completely impossible for BC Game to win that. But I do like that they had a bit of a different approach that I was hoping to see, and especially in a round like that. With the orb revealing itself, trying to rush him down, get mid-control, and I guess take it from there. And it did a pretty solid job. Now, resources are a bit more stable. Not quite as much on the Alliance side. Just upgraded pistols, not a single smoke or flash in their hand. In their case, it's definitely going to ask a bit of a miracle for them to hang on to this defense.
Yeah, cling on for dear life might be an apt analogy. Slowly through tunnels again, looking to favour this A site once more, but to be honest with you, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Nade to go over the top, allow Anzu the space to push. Deeper nade to get them round the corner here. It's not quite burnt out, so they have to stall themselves for a second. Get one step closer, taking it stride at a time. Now comes the treacherous corner. Smoke to go over the top. No head spotted yet. Flash to go over. Oh, lovely pick from Poi. Spamming away, still got some life left in him. And even after that juicy nade there, it is finally prime taps to take him on out. Simple, low HP amidst all of this as well. But Casanito, the king of positioning, the king of timing this map, has to do it once more. Finds the first, manages to back away, spraying desperately, trying to find a second, but knows that being greedy could cost him the round. Nexa round the corner here. Are they aware that there is a player hiding? Oh, there's an idea. Upe goes down. Casanito just covering fire. That's all they need to do is stall and stall and stall. There's no kits available right now, and time's starting to wear a little bit thin. They're going to back away. Reload comes on through, and they're just going to filter down long. An exit plan needed.
I mean, people are sort of like throwing weapons away in the hopes that they won't get hunted down or recovered. So far, so good. Era is quite far away from a weapon. Will make a run or something, but I don't think he is getting away with it. So yeah, couple kills, but not a whole lot of damage dealt in this round. So we keep seeing Alliance getting stuck on 4. Feels like a bit of a repeat of our previous map where we had this 6-4 half and things looked a bit shaky.
Just a little bit. Tech pause comes up, and again, we talked about it being a choppy half. But it seems that BC Games thriving in the anarchy and the chaos of the back and forth a little bit more than Alliance are. Alliance seem to be unable to really find footing if it's not within the confines of a really heavy streak of momentum.
Yeah, you gotta keep you cool. We talked already a bit about it yesterday, how BC Game, they had to deal with a lot of these sort of tech issues as well. And they eventually came out on top. You know, you have experienced players on your squad. So maybe for someone like Simple, you know, the online era of CS is maybe a little bit more foreign to him.
Maybe a little bit. I mean, online CS is its own debate, isn't it? I remember when the game first came out and everyone was like, oh, it feels so much better online. Bomb gonna get left fully in spawn. The reason I mention this is we've seen a couple of times where this has backfired for them. couple of last-minute executes. They're going to send Casanito back pretty early on to grab it this time. Scoop it up while the rest of the team is taking mid. And look at that take mid they have. And in such incredible fashion.
Yeah, no escaping the Molotov. I mean, on the flip side, there has been a very good counter nade here, though, knowing that there's short presence currently. And in fact, I mean, it doesn't maybe seem to matter because Poi now also falls. And sort of in this mid territory, there's a lot of casualties, forcing Upe to abandon B, play quite deep in towards middle. And instead here, though, we have one player up on long. He needs to get a kill and will do so, but is it going to be enough? Because pretty much that is one player up to defend this site, and from so far away, the last player is not able to cross into CT because it's just too dangerous by yourself.
It might just be the call to save now.
Yeah.
And pray that you can find a timing to get that pit player out. It's looking unlikely, especially with Simple. I don't want to say trained on the angle, but sort of keeping a side eye on it.
Yeah, escaping this is also one part. I mean, technically you survived in the pit. Everyone's already on the route to exit, expecting what is indeed not quite coming their way. So everyone's sticking together, holding on to their weapons. And we're looking at the very last round of the half now. As the scoreline becomes 7-4. Now, we had this 8-4 affair already over on Inferno, and I'm starting to get a bit of a deja vu as we speak. With how, again, on 4 rounds, Alliance falls a bit quiet, struggles with economy, and is not able to pincer through the adapting play of BC Game.
Well, if this series is anything to go by, what will happen is this will be an 8-4 half, and then it'll be 9-4, and then a miracle round will come on through, and then we'll have a comeback. We haven't seen an overtime yet today, but we've had a lot of superficial comebacks, haven't we? We've seen a lot of really early like round leads, and then an attempt, but then they fall kind of a little bit flat on the comeback. I either want to see a proper comeback or potentially BC Games just run away with this series, because it's felt they've been on the back foot for quite a bit. This feels like the first map they properly felt in charge. I said, as you know, it's been a bit back and forth. You know what? I won't stand on that one. Simple, lining up the first shot, not quite able to connect it as they fly by his vision.
Still, that's good damage. Early round on a player that he would love to play close with, having an MP9 on him. And instantly things slow down a bit. Oh, Alliance is hanging on for dear life in middle once again, but seems like they have very little answers for how BC Game is slowly taking control, though Prime Taps needs to be a bit careful, gets tagged in the fire, and Poi is hoping to hunt him down. Though his teammate falls, and with that, with very little support, where do you go? Maybe Poi is forced to look towards short, together with Arrow soon, because up they will come, completely blinded and taken out. Oh man, and it's just Poi now, 17 HP in a dream.
Yeah, the utility has just been so much better on the side of BC Game this half. The flash is looking...
Alright, we are back into the action as currently our scoreline here is 8-4. It is the final map of this best of 3 final, and we are soon to find out who will be our winner, who will go on to Pro Leagues. Currently a big lead here in favor of BC Game as they are looking to turn the odds in their favor. Now, big chunk of dualies on board here for them, hoping to give themselves a bit of extra firepower, but where will Alliance go?
Two guns are better than one, but we'll see if they can actually make something with them. Andu on this angle, the flash, so good. Upe runs him on down. Prime Taps has to pull back a little bit. Casanito hops on, hoping to alleviate the pressure, but actually they run into a little bit of a trap here. Bowie gets one, Twist finds another, and Simple is desperately, frantically spamming. He's going to give away his location, taken down because of it, and now Nexa doesn't want any piece of this. Is going to take a headshot through the smoke and decides not worth it, not today. Has to be so wary that they are going to push him anyway, but that bomb is down. This round is over. It's just if he can find anything at all with what he has been left with.
Yeah. It's not looking very bright.
No, not particularly.
I mean, he hears people around him with Paranoia, maybe someone behind.
He's actually found a really incredible timing to work with here. I think he dies in mid here. There's too many people watching. Yeah.
Yeah, no. Not gonna happen. It's alright. Make the gap a little bit more small. And on the back of a bomb plant and everything, and it being on T side, this can really give them a little bit of a boost here up into this second half.
Yeah, we talked about them, a very momentum-based team, so if they can kick this half off nicely, and with the CT economy being a little bit difficult to manage at times, they've bought themselves the biggest advantage they could ever ask for. Don't worry, Avid, we've all missed the jump up sometimes. Sometimes you just walk into the curb, it happens. Over towards A, we see a stack. Now, this stack didn't work particularly well for Alliance when they ran it last half, where Will we see anything different? Guess we will find out. Slowly, hesitantly, making their way on over. They've got a smoke for the crossing. Not that that's going to matter too much.
It's going to be straight out and execute onto this side. Walking into the stack of pistols, though. I mean, there's good tags, but not enough to kill them. And with that, a follow-up security for Alliance. Keeping the majority alive as well, which is a good sign. And they can slowly start to build up that economy here to give them a bit of a reservoir to, yeah, march on towards that finish line.
If it's a reservoir, surely they'd swim on through to that finish line. Sorry, awful joke. We've got too far without a pun, so I had to throw one in somewhere. Timeout being called from Alliance. Now, we haven't actually seen them use all too many this series. BC Game, I believe, burnt two pretty quickly. One before round 4, and then a second one in a couple of rounds after that. So they've only got one more to hang on to, but a timeout being called here by Alliance still gives them the opportunity to get the coach on the line, have a little bit of a conversation about how to set themselves up to keep this lead going, because they're running out of opportunities to establish themselves a little bit of a buffer.
I mean, the BC Game find a blow back right now that could already come and sting, even though there is, as you said, a bit of a buffer left for Alliance, even if they were to lose this. But, you know, eventually the rounds are going to run dry. You need to strike now. Get yourselves a lead back in. And it's easier said than done, especially up on the T side. Gotta have a game plan ready so far. Seem to be going in a bit of a similar strategy as what BC Game did in the latter stages of that first half. Focus on middle, split out from there. Mainly short was a part that they exploited a lot.
Okay, looks like they are going to be able to hurl a lot of utility over to take that corner. Smoke comes over the top though, and that's going to stop everything in its track, force them to back away, find a new angle, or to wait it out, but they don't seem particularly patient here. No, they want to go for the fight. Andu forced off the corner. Gonna catch the first Upe as he jumps on round, and Poi wants no part of this. He doesn't want to trade. He doesn't want to be involved in this fight. He's going to be dragged into it anyway and taken down. Era falls as well, and just across the map, the blanket coverage reigns supreme. Twist hoping he spotted ahead, but now as it ducks down, he's not going to find anything. Maybe Avid can alleviate the pressure. Absolutely not. He falls, and that's going to leave even more weight on Twist's shoulders. He's stuck in the pit. That's a very dangerous position to even try and escape from right now, with no support, with no knowledge of what's going on in mid. Now, we can tell that he's got a little chance to escape, but he does not know that. He's just going to sit here and wait out that timer, hope that no one's going to push him, and no one's going to press the issue.
Yeah, at this point, you know, in VC game, this only been their very first one, round 1. Sure, there was a bit of loss bonus for them to work with, but keeping it clean, not throwing away unnecessary resources, that is the way to go right now, to give yourself a clean path towards victory here. Of course, still, we need 4 more rounds on their end, but keeping that gap as big as possible to give themselves breathing room. That is what they desire. Now, maybe not the most optimal buy here on the side of Alliance. Upe just on a deagle. But it could definitely be a lot worse. This is a round that they could still make work. It's only a question as to how, because last round they were kind of being stalled in towards middle. That game plan with going into CT. They were being a bit hesitant. You know, they lost that initial player. They didn't know if they wanted to back up, if they wanted to trade, if they want to commit. And that hesitation eventually cost them the round. So we need maybe a bit more assertiveness from them and decision-making in order for them to come out victorious.
Yeah, it's when they were being assertive that they were finding the most success, especially over on, if we can cast our minds back to map number 1, Ancient. Feels like so long ago now, but here we go. They throw a little bit of utility, back and forth. They're kind of shuffling around, twiddling their thumbs. Smoke's faded, so now they've got to go, but a Molotov at their feet. That's going to give them more excuse just to wait. Oh, dude, I'm not going to hear anything, but in the perfect position to activate here. Has to be careful not to get caught off by Avid, but Casanito with the first. There is a trade. Ooh, Simple can't quite find the connect either, and they mow down, eliminate the forces. Nexa can see again, vision restored. Not going to be able to stop the bomb going down. Quick check behind him, knows that it's safe, and Prime taps. Oh no, he's got no idea what's coming for him.
Oh, that is rough. Avid with a lurk.
It's been sad.
Oh, he's accounting for it. I mean, he's a bit doubtful where to pick to first. He does get the kill, does get tagged in the process. Oh, but the timing of Nexa, it is so good. And if they can make this work together, put pressure on him from both angles. He is looking left and right. He is good for 1, not quite good for the second. And with a kit on the back of Prime Taps, they can get this defuse in. They can get double digits. And just with an inch of leverage, they can get it over the line.
Oh, Prime Taps is just sent to check for that flank, because there was a moment, there was just a tiny scrap of trigger discipline we saw there. Avid had an opportunity, had a line of sight, but wasn't quite sure he'd be able to get the pick long range from that B site. So he waits, he lets Prime Taps settle into the CT position, and that's when Prime Taps finally has a little bit of a window to watch for that flank, take it down, and that means that all attention gets distracted by the fact that their lurker's gone and that their numbers have dwindled. So beautifully played there from Prime Taps, and now he's on the right site to make another stellar performance happen. I'd love to see a round where they try something pacier here, Alliance.
Yeah, currently it's been more of this default play, just waiting it out, seeing if there's any pushes. And right now with limited amount of utility, this is maybe the plan that you hope to see. Try and just go in as a unit. Now, a big chunk of the utility has been deployed here over towards middle in the hopes for a split B as over towards that side. Oh my god, I want to try and set foot onto even an inch of B side, but they are completely denied the opportunity. Lovely anchoring there coming out of BC game, and suddenly the timer is starting to tick because Alliance, you know, we got a little bit more out of them in the beginning of this half, but the gap is starting to become scary close, and now 11-6. as BC Game only needs 2 more rounds.
This is usually, and where on both previous maps we'd see a force buy happen from Alliance to try get them a foot in to try make a comeback. But the money's really, really hit and miss on these plays. But I think they want to go for... Oh, wait, maybe not. No, they do. They've got that AK, and it wasn't sold. It was just passed on over. So it does look like they really want to fight for this penultimate, well, potentially penultimate round. Tech war still coming through, but a couple of players starting to buy up. Gives me a little bit of hope. I'm hearing the clicks. It's always a good noise.
Gotta be patient here. And again, these little sort of bumps in the road are far from ideal. Especially, I feel like if you're Alliance here, like you wanna... You want to get back into the game, you want to have the game plan executed, and the longer sort of this anxiety can build and all these thoughts in your head can roam, the tougher it honestly gets.
Yeah, indeed. And we talked about this being back and forth, and that when it's a little bit choppier, it seems that Alliance can't quite find their footing. When they're able to get, a foothold, they climb so quickly. But when they've not got, 2 rounds that they've managed to piece together, it feels very stop and start, very haphazard. So they're a team that relies a lot on momentum at times, and they've just not been gifted the opportunity by that between the tech pauses, between BC Games always having an answer for them here. It is certainly being a little bit more difficult for them.
Like, honestly, what a difference this game so far has been in comparison to the first time these two teams faced each other here, which was only 2 days ago. But back then, Inferno, today already around was a lot of a more closer affair. Last time it was 13-6, and now we were thinking, okay, maybe we can even see like something like an overtime. And right now here on Dust 2, last time 13-3 in favor of Alliance, and look at the scoreline now of BC Game. I mean, they weren't able to do a single thing up on CT side, and currently they are, picking up, getting that momentum on their side, and potentially finishing the game on that side.
Yeah, I mean, poor BC Games, they've had to come back into this series, and yeah, they've had to come back into this series a little bit, and now they're teetering over the edge. I believe just a couple of tech issues. We shouldn't be too much longer, hopefully. I say with bated breath. I don't want to jinx it,
I mean, yeah, we gotta just wait and be patient.
Well, we are going to go to a very short break, guys, just to make sure that everything is ready. We can put the flourishes and the finishing touch, everybody. The suspense building and the pause only helping to build it further. Simple wants to close this series out, and an opening pick right here would be an incredible way to start, but he's not going to be awarded the fight he's so desperately itching for.
I mean, the odds certainly are in BC Games' favor, with the majority being on pistols here on the side of Alliance. Didn't really dare to go in with a full-on buy, keeping some left in the bank for a potential next round, but there's a large gap here to make up for, and the stakes are high. Smokes and a nade. Not quite doing a whole lot. But I need to be careful, because Era, for example, there over in the middle, does have the bomb, and if that drops, it's going to be bringing Alliance into a very tricky scenario.
Absolutely.
Back up.
Given a lot of respect to work with here, actually, maybe a bit too much. They are just on the pistols here, so they will be more than happy to try and retake, not let any of these early fights go awry. Nexa, Has to be careful not to be overrun here. There's no second point of contact to help him out, to bail him out if it's needed. Simple. Missed first shot, missed second shot, just trying to keep hold of the attention, I guess. But there we go, finally the third connect. Avid's got one, but it's a short-lived victory. And there we go, finally series point achieved for BC Game. 6 opportunities to close this out. They're looking so strong, like there never was a break. They are firing on all cylinders, raring to go, raring for that regional final already.
And a lot on the line here for Alliance to try and fight for. We were mentioning already earlier for both these teams. Previously, in the first cup, they didn't manage to get into the prize pool territory. And now both of them are so close and additionally have a spot in the regional final. Which means top 4 teams. And they will then battle it out for a shot at Pro League. So definitely a lot on the line. BC Game can already smell that victory.
Ooh, Casanito, we've sung his praises this series. Needs to be careful here. Rounds the corner, the flash is so perfect. They peek anyway, there's 2 and Nexa with a third demolishes their chances. Alliance looking dead in the eyes. At that 13th, hitting the boards. 2 versus 4 needed, and Simple's holding the line. It's a missed shot. It's a mercy.
I mean, they are allowed to hang on. But there is a hefty disadvantage for Alliance here. They have that smoke. Use it as a bit of lever to try and cross, but Nexa is awaiting. He's playing it quiet, not making much noise. Has his teammate a bit further back. And honestly, if they can play this one out together, not quite. Good for 1 kill at least. Still though, player advantage, and look at the HP on Upe. It is only 14. Simple and Prime Taps on the hunt to victory. As Upe is creeping out of the smoke, he can't do the job, and it is 13-6. As BC Game Esports win the 2nd cup here at ECL.
They do. Massive congratulations to them. They booked themselves a spot in that regional final alongside...